sounds so good. Oh, and it pops out the exhaust. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're gonna be going over a 2020 Shelby Raptor. This is such an awesome truck, but first and foremost, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with this Shelby Raptor. If you guys are wondering, they have this black one and this blue one. I think they're like the only two Shelby Raptors that are brand new that are still for sale. So if you're looking for one, then they've got two of them and they do not mark these up like most dealers. So yeah, definitely check out their inventory, but let's get into the video. Under the hood, we have a twin-turbo 3.5 liter V6 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 525 horsepower and then 610 pound-feet of torque. And then this does come with a performance air intake and then also an aluminum intercooler, which I think is pretty neat overall. But yeah, definitely a cool little setup there. I love how you've got like the little bi-whipple there with the Shelby logo on it. But yeah, definitely love the little setup under the hood. Let's go over the front end of the Shelby Raptor, and yes, I have all the lights on because it looks awesome with them on. So first off, we've got this performance hood from Shelby, which I think looks absolutely fantastic. I love the venting on the front, and you've got the Shelby logo, and then you got the turbocharged badge there on the side. It definitely makes the truck look so much more aggressive. And then you've got the signature LED lights from the Raptor with the little marker lights there on the center and then on the sides as well. And you got the LEDs down here, and then the gigantic light bar here on the bumper. The bumper does say Shelby on it, which is another nice little touch. But yeah, it looks super aggressive. And then I do have the light bar there on the back also on. Hopefully that pops up onto the camera. But yeah, with all the lights on and everything, this truck just looks insane. Coming around the side here, we've got 35s, and those are wrapped around 18-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And as for the design on the wheels, I think it looks really cool. It's kind of like this hardcore off-roader design. And then I love how they have the red brake calipers. Definitely makes it look a lot more aggressive and a lot sportier. But here's kind of like a quick look at the tires. Super, super aggressive. And other than that, here's kind of like your full side view before we dive into the shocks. So these are the most advanced shocks that Fox has ever produced, which I think is pretty neat. So you've got Shelby tuned Fox shocks, which are 3 inches. And in terms of the shocks themselves, so they're live valve. They have integrated controls for all 4 shocks, which is pretty nice. And then you've got 3-inch coilover internal bypass adjustable reservoir shocks in the front, and then the rear is the same thing. And then in terms of the positions, there's 3 positions on all of the shocks, which you can adjust it to, and that determine if you want to drive this on-road or off-road. And there's the front shocks, and then here's a quick look at the back shocks. So yeah, this thing's crazy from a shock perspective, and the travel that the Shelby Raptor has is absolutely insane. Sorry, quick edit, I messed up. The back shocks are external bypass. So internal bypass for the front shocks, external bypass for the rear shocks. My bad. Now let's go over the bed here of the Shelby Raptor. So first off, we've got a full liner here from the factory, which is a nice little touch. And then you do get LED bed lights. And then we've got the tire carrier. This looks so cool. Like just seeing the tires in that position, I think is just crazy. And so yes, you have 6 tires total with this truck. And then you've got the Baja rack with the giant light bar that you guys saw earlier. It says Shelby Baja Raptor on it, which is another nice little touch. But yeah, that's everything for the bed. Now let's go over the back of the Shelby Raptor. So you do have the regular taillights here in the back with a little marker light, but integrated into the bumpers, you've got LED lights, which are really good because from a safety perspective, this helps basically make the truck more visible on the off-road. And then this exhaust has also been tuned by Shelby, which is another cool little touch. And then yes, you can still tow with this truck. It does tow. But yeah, overall, the back end of this truck definitely looks crazy. Absolutely love the aesthetic of it. And I love all the little Shelby Raptor logos. Now let's go over the door panel here in the rear of the Raptor. So first off, you got carbon fiber that's been added by Shelby, and it's even around the little window control. And then here are the seats. I absolutely love these seats because you've got the red axling, which looks really cool, with the Alcantara, but you've got the perforated leather here in the center. They're very comfortable to sit in. And then this also comes with power steps, but let's actually pop in. So stepping in with those power steps, it makes getting in and out really easy. Headroom's solid. I'm 5'11", and then legroom, I've got plenty. Got a couple cup holders here, more carbon fiber with the heated seats, and then we've got a bunch of power outlet action happening in that little area. And then over here, we've got this that pulls down to be a couple of cup holders, which is a nice little touch. But yeah, that's the back of the Shelby Raptor. Now let's go over the door panel here in the front of the Shelby Raptor. So first off, got this nice soft touch right here with the carbon fiber, and then just up above, you've got the controls there for the memory seats, and then here are the seats at the front. So full leather. I love the red accenting, just like the back seats with the Alcantara. Really nice bolstering, but these seats are really soft. So like for long trips, for long off-roading adventures, you would never get uncomfortable with these seats. Got your power adjustments on the side of the seat, pedal layout here at the bottom, and then you've got the adjustments just up above for the pedals, which is pretty neat. You've got your light controls, that for the parking brake, but yeah, there's everything before we actually pop in. Here's the steering wheel in the Shelby Raptor. So first off, you've got soft touch leather at the top and at the bottom, and then you've got nice perforated leather here on the side, so it makes the steering wheel a little bit grippier. Carbon fiber all around. And then just like all the other Raptors, you've got your controls for the volume, you've got your drive mode, your steering wheel controller, phone controls, the adaptive cruise control on the other side, and then controls for the center stack. You've got the beautiful paddles there on the back, and then you've got little stock there for the turn signal, and that's all for the steering wheel. Here for the center gauge cluster, notice that you've got the custom gauges that have Carroll Shelby's signature, which I think is a nice little touch, and I love the red outlining with the gauges. Definitely makes it look a whole lot more aggressive. And then you do have the little screens here in the center, which give you different bits of information. Love how you have the Raptor status, which shows you obviously your your steering angle, I should say, rather, but then also like everything with the setup for the steering, and then your suspension and your stability control, and then also the drive mode for the truck. I don't know, I just think that's a cool little setup. Here's the center infotainment system. So first off, notice that you've got the auto stop start there at the top. You've got the little camera system button, the hazard lights here, and then you've got the off-road cruise control with the stability control as well. And then yeah, just notice with the camera system, when you press that, you do get the bird's eye view, and then you've got the view at the front, which the bumper does get in the way, but I'd rather have that bumper than a view at the front, just saying, because I think it just looks really cool. And as for the rest of the screen, if we actually pop it into reverse, you guys can see that you've got trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and then you got the bird's eye view again, and then you can zoom in onto the receiver hitch. So pretty straightforward with that. And then you do get the parking sensors as well, which is another nice little touch here with the Shelby Raptor. And then just like all the other 2020 Raptors, it's got the updated infotainment system, so response time's good, it's easy to use, and it looks good. I've got a bunch of controls here in this little area. So under here, you've got a power outlet and a 12 volt, got the radio controls, climate controls down below. This does come with the dual zone climate, which I need to turn the heated seat off. I was wondering why I was getting so hot. And then we've got the control for the driveline select. So you've got your two-wheel high, your four-wheel auto, your four-wheel high, and then your four-wheel low with the locker in the rear, trailer backup system. And then you guys can see we've got some extra storage space in here. It does have a couple of USBs there on the side, and then notice all of the carbon fiber all around. And then you got the shifter right here with the nice leather on it. Got the plus and minus for the gears. And then you do get the manual mode. Again, remember, you can use the shifter here, or you can use the paddles. Got the center console that says Shelby Raptor on it. And opening it up, storage space is just like all the other Raptors. You get the little storage tray on top of it. But yeah, definitely makes it cool with the Shelby Raptor logo. And then over here, you've got another Carroll Shelby signature, and then they give you like your chassis number, which I think is pretty neat. And then regular glove box, and then normal leather on the dash. They didn't change any of that. Now up top here, we've got quite a few controls. So first off, this does come with a power sliding window, which then you can look at your tires even better. Sunglass holder, you've got the controls for the sunroof. Yes, this does have a full panoramic sunroof. Now, the lights are all connected to the auxiliary switches. So for the front lights, it's 1, 4, and 5 to turn on the front lights. But if you just want to make sure that everything's done, just do that. Oh, we missed one. There you go. Just do that every single time, and you'll make sure that you blind people from the front and the rear, and your truck will look really cool. We have this beautiful laminated window sticker thing for the Shelby Baja Raptor. And feel free to freeze the frame on anything so you guys can read all of the equipment that this truck has that's been added to it by Shelby, which I think is pretty interesting. I love how it says performance road driving to hardcore off-roading. And then yes, you've got to do 91, but total MSRP $122,135. Let's take the Shelby Raptor out and see how she drives. Well, let's talk about visibility here on the Shelby Raptor before we set off. So first off, visibility over the hood. It does kind of impede you a little bit with kind of like the raised hood portion, but I think it looks really cool from an aesthetic perspective, and it's really not much worse than a stock Raptor. And then here's your visibility through both the mirrors. They do have blind spot monitoring. And here's throughout the rest of the rear, which, yes, the tires get in the way a little bit, but I think it's worth it because they look cool. And from an off-road perspective, super functional in case you get a flat, which happens all the time. But that all being said, let's set off. Well, we are pretty much setting off here in the Shelby Raptor, and it's been a while since I drove one of these. I reviewed one earlier this year, or sorry, last year actually, I meant rather. And after getting out of the truck, I have never wanted a truck so bad before in my life. Like, I had to like show amazing willpower not to like go and buy one because it's such a cool truck and it just drives so great. So if you guys are wondering, I've got it in the sport mode. I'm going to drive the TRX in the sport mode as well. Well, the TRX driving was actually before this, but regardless, the TRX was in sport mode too, and so I just want the comparisons to be kind of equal from like a drive mode perspective, and like that's what the fun driving is going to be on road, is you're going to have it in sport mode. But getting up and going, I love the turbo sound, and the window sticker totally fell down, but I love the turbo sound with the Raptor, and I don't mind the V6. A lot of people are like, oh, a truck has to have a V8. I'm definitely not in that camp. I love the sound of a twin turbo V6. I think it's just a really neat sound. But initially getting up and going, you definitely do hear quite a bit of noise from the tires, which I expected with the Shelby Raptor since it's got these crazy off-road tires. But maneuverability with them is really good. Like, this definitely feels smaller and lighter than the TRX. Like, you can definitely perceive the weight difference with the trucks. Now, I am going to pop it over into the manual mode for a little acceleration here. Sounds so good. Oh, and it pops out the exhaust. The gear shifts are so quick in the sport mode, just perfect. And obviously with the 10-speed automatic, you do have to shift the gears a little bit more often because the ratios are a little bit closer. Now that we're on the highway, again, you do hear a little bit more tire noise. From a ride quality perspective, it goes over bumps a little bit better than the TRX, but the TRX kind of feels a little bit smoother on the road. So there's kind of like that distinction between both of the trucks. And then as for the acceleration, yes, everyone knows the TRX is going to be quicker, but this is still really quick. And for an off-road vehicle, it's quick enough. Like, I don't feel like I really need any more power. The TRX feels like overkill, whereas this feels like balanced. But yeah, it drives great on the highway. I love the steering feel with the Shelby Raptor 2. Super direct for a truck. It's got like a nice weighted feeling to it. Gear shifts are really good. I love the turbo noise with this too. You get little like bits of turbo noise from it. Sounds really good. And the brakes, that's a huge difference too. The Shelby Raptor, you can definitely feel like the weight when you're turning it, but also with the braking, the stopping power on this feels significantly better than the TRX. The TRX feels like it needs a little bit more in terms of braking, whereas this feels, you know, right where it should be. That turbo noise always gets to me. I love it. But yeah, let's actually get into summing things up with the Shelby Raptor. So from an exterior aesthetics perspective, I feel like it's a really good looking truck. Like, this truck has so much road presence with all of the light bars that it has, with the crazy bumpers, the Baja rack with the tires in the back, and just like how tall this truck is also just gives it so much off-road presence. It's crazy. And then from an interior perspective, I love the seats. They're very comfortable to sit in. I love the look of them. I love like the carbon fiber bits on this truck as well. The steering wheel feels perfect. It's like the perfect size. Like I said, the weighted feeling of it is great as well. And then as for the rest of the Shelby Raptor, in terms of the performance, so again, this has the long travel suspension. So we know from a suspension standpoint, this is going to do better on the off-road than the TRX. On-road, this feels a little bit rougher than the TRX, but it's not by much. And the biggest difference you feel on road is the weight. Like, this just has better turn in, it feels a lot lighter, it brakes quicker, and again, that's just a weight thing. When you put a huge 6.2 liter V8 in the front end of a truck, it's going to feel heavier, and it's not going to be able to brake as quick unless you put massive rotors on it, and they're kind of limited when they can only have an 18-inch wheel in the truck. So like, I understand why the TRX doesn't have massive brakes, but like, it definitely is kind of like a thing on that truck. So yeah, overall though, with the Shelby Raptor, This truck's really good on road. You could daily drive it, but yeah, the off-road capability and the looks of this truck are really what makes this shine. That's the high point of the Shelby Raptor, the looks and the off-road capability. Now, that is going to sum things up for our video on this 2020 Shelby Raptor. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to Ed Kenley Ford for giving me some time with this Shelby Raptor. Check out their inventory link below. I'll see all of you in the next video.